Hello everyone, and welcome to another Blu-ray update. It is I, MovieManCHAD, and today's date is November 16th, 2017. I've got tons of Blu-rays to talk about. This one is going to focus on films. These are movies that I picked up, I should say, in the last few years. And these are films from the year 2000 to the year 2007. So here we go. Where do we start? All right, I'm going to start from 2000 and work my way up to 2007. Okay, first one is Frequency. Really loved this film. Glad to have it. I did have it on DVD. Now I have it on Blu-ray. I have not seen this film in probably more than 15 years. I remember really enjoying it when I saw it in the theaters. Great cast, great concept, great use of time travel and family, and it's a great thriller. It's completely entertaining from beginning to end, and even when it doesn't make perfect sense, it doesn't really matter because Frequency is just completely wonderful and entertaining throughout. And glad to have it. Most special features on here are ones from the DVD. One I do want to showcase really quick is a music-only track with commentary by composer Michael Kamen. Of course, Michael Kamen passed away, I think, in 2003 or 2004. So this is one of the last scores that he completed. And I loved him as a composer, a film composer. And so I'd actually like to go back and listen to, because I remember the music being really, really entertaining as well. So here's Frequency, 2000, and the DVDs, nothing too special. I should say the Blu-ray, nothing too special right there. But you can kind of see my camera. There it is, my camera, in because it's clear. Yeah, not blue, it is clear. Okay, so there is Frequency 2000. Next one is one of my favorite comedies of 2000, of the 2000s, like or the first 17 years of from 2000 to 2017, and that would be Best in Show. Christopher Guest and Eugene Levy and the great cast: Catherine O'Hara, Parker Posey, Michael McKean, Jane Lynch. Just everybody's in this film. It's just a beautiful, fun comedy that I remember enjoying. I think I saw it twice in theater. I enjoyed it so much, and I did have it on DVD. It's great to have it on Blu-ray, and I just love when these guys get together. And they did get together last year and made a Netflix movie that I do recommend about mascots. I think it was called Mascots, but nothing tops, in my opinion, Best in Show. But I also do love what came after this, which was... well, before we had Waiting for Guffman, which I do have it on DVD, and then after that we had A Mighty Wind. But I think Best in Show might be my favorite one out of the three, at least those three. This is just one of the best comedies ever made, and just love it so much, and just glad to have it on Blu-ray. Let's open it up really quick, and again, just another clear Blu-ray, Best in Show. Okay. Next one is one of my favorite films from Guy Ritchie, and of course it came out in 2000, and I'm talking about Snatch. This is probably his best, this is, I would say, his best film out of the films that he's made, and I would welcome, not a sequel to Snatch, but I would welcome a movie like Snatch. I think after what he's done in the last couple years, I think he needs to return, though he'll probably make a Sherlock Holmes movie again before he does anything else, and I did like Rock and Rolla. But I think Snatch is the best representation of him as a storyteller, as a filmmaker, and the way he brings these weird characters together and go on this amazing adventure. And I've seen this movie countless times, and I'm glad to have it on Blu-ray. We open it up, and you do get a cool-looking Blu-ray of Snatch. So you haven't seen this yet, 2000, one of the best funny crime comedy capers I've ever seen. So... glad to have this one in the collection. Now, that was 2000. Now we're on to 2001, and a movie that I remember really enjoying when I saw it. Of course, I love the director, and I don't love all the films, but I do enjoy all the films that came before it, and I was really looking forward to this remake, and I remember really liking it, but it wasn't received very well, and now it's probably really hated for being just a bad movie, a bad remake. But in my opinion, I think it's still a good, solid film with many mistakes, but wonderful makeup, and I'm talking about Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes remake. Of course, we never got a sequel to this film. I understand why. I get it, but there are some great qualities to this film that include the makeup. I mean, just from Tim Roth, Paul Giamatti, and the great late Michael Clark Duncan, just everybody just looks amazing in this film. And yeah, it's got its issues. It's silly, it's goofy, it's not one of the best Tim Burton movies, but in the end it is one of a film that I remember seeing a few times in the theater and enjoying it, and would definitely welcome watching it again. But I do like that they rebooted the franchise in 2011 and made some really great films after that, and I look forward to what they do next. But of course, we will never get a sequel to this film. I doubt it. It will not happen. But I do like Tim Burton, and maybe I'm just a fanboy when it comes to Tim, even though I don't love all of his movies. I do enjoy most of his films, and there is a cool-looking Blu-ray, thank you 20th Century Fox, Planet of the Apes, and I didn't pay much for this. I think it was like $5. It's definitely worth $5. So if you got $5 and you still like this movie, I definitely say worth picking up, though I don't know if it's $5 anymore. All right, next one, we're going to 2001 still, and one of the best films of 2001, one of the best films from Ridley Scott, and that would be Black Hawk Down. Just one of the greatest war films ever made. I remember enjoying this countless times with amazing sound system. If you have a great sound system and great video quality, I have not seen the Blu-ray yet, though I have seen the film on DVD before, you know, HD came out. But it's been a few years. It's probably been more than 10 years since I've watched this film, and I do welcome it. I remember seeing that there was like an extended cut. This is not the extended cut, so whatever. But this movie just has such rewatchability and shows us why Ridley Scott is one of the best filmmakers. And I would love to see him make another war film like this. There's got to be something going on in the world to base a film on. War, I should say. So maybe we'll get another film from Ridley Scott with this. Probably not. He'll probably just go back and make another Aliens film. But I really enjoyed Black Hawk Down, and nothing too special here. Columbia, standard cover of a Blu-ray. There you go. All right. Now we're into 2002, and now we're at 6 minutes and 7 minutes almost. 2002. So here we go, really quick. Insomnia. This is the only film I have in this collection from 2002. Of course, this film is the remake to original film. I can't remember exactly where the original, but I know it starred Stellan Skarsgård. This is, of course, the Christopher Nolan version from 2002 with Robin Williams and Al Pacino and Hilary Swank. This film, you know, is I think the last time that Christopher Nolan has made an R-rated movie. I don't think he's made an R-rated movie since 2002's Insomnia. I remember really enjoying this film. I need to revisit it again. That's why I bought it. I think I got it a pretty decent price. And it's nice that Warner Brothers gave you a really cool-looking Blu-ray of Insomnia. I don't think I love this film. It's not one of the best. It might be my least favorite of the Christopher Nolan movies, but that's, you know, that's okay because I love most of his films. So this is probably like a 3.5 stars out of 4, where the rest of them are all 4 or 3.5 themselves. But great film from Christopher Nolan, and I'm looking forward to watching it again someday. All right, now we're on to 2003, and so this video doesn't get too long. I have right here, there's a bunch right here. So I have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I did just recently buy the original film, and I'll showcase that when I cover movies from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But this is from 2003, and I think this is one of the best remakes ever made when it comes to horror. Best horror remake, I should say. Best horror remakes ever made. I think this is really solid and scary. I can't say too much about the movies that followed this, but I think this was one of the scariest films in years, and I would say, yeah, it really scared me when I saw this in 2003, and I've seen it a few times afterward. I just think it's a solid remake. Not taken away from the classic original, but living up to it. I think living up to it and delivering some great thrills and cool cast, some really wonderful visuals, and some great music as well. And the DVD is pretty cool as well. The Blu-ray, I should say. The DVD, I remember having, I still have the DVD somewhere around here. The DVD was a really cool collector's set as well. It came out as a big chainsaw. It was pretty cool as well. This one is just the standard, of course, Blu-ray, but really enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for 2003. All right, we're talking about Tim Burton again. Tim Burton made a film in 2003 called Big Fish, and this is a film I like. I never really loved this film. I love the visuals of the film, but the way the film was presented at the time, it kind of, the emotional thread kind of fell apart throughout the film, and it would grab me, and then it would pull me away. And that was just a battle that was going on in my mind as I was watching this film for the first time. But I found some more enjoyment after watching it again, over and over again. And this is just another Columbia Picture standard looking Blu-ray right there. Not one of my favorite I mean, I think this movie's better than Planet of the Apes, of course, but not one of the best Tim Burton movies, but definitely one. If you love a fan of Tim Burton and you want to have all his films, definitely one to own. So there you go, Big Fish. Now this one, I think I saw this one in 2005, but it says 2003 right here, so I'm just gonna say 2003. I'm just gonna say. Now this is Unleashed, one of the rare Jet Li movies that I really like. This one actually comes with an unrated and the theatrical cut, which is just 1 minute longer than the theatrical cut. And I have not seen this movie in a long time, but I really enjoyed it. I thought Bob Hoskins was fantastic in the movie, and especially coming from this director. The guy directed a couple other films before and after this that I really thought were okay, so I think this is one of his better films as well. I don't know what else to say much about Unleashed. It's been a long time since I've seen it. There's the Blu-ray, standard Universal Blu-ray. Nothing too special right there, but I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to one day watching it again. Next one is one of the best Christmas movies. I think the best Christmas movie of 2000, one of the best Christmas movies of 2000s, one of the best films of 2003, and there was a fun little sequel that came out like a year ago, I think, for Christmas. I think for some charity event, and I thought it was okay. It was nice to see some of the cast back together again, for a good cause. But I love Love Actually from 2003. It is definitely one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time. One of the best overly romantic. I enjoyed most of the cast. I think there was a couple characters I didn't like, but it didn't hurt enough to not say this is one of my favorite Christmas movies made of all time, and one of the best films of 2003, and just a fun movie all around. And I'm surprised that we didn't get more movies like this. Maybe not. Well, we tried. I think they tried. Gary Marshall, I think, tried to make his movies about Mother's Day, and Gary Marshall, rest in peace, Mother's Day, and about Valentine's Day, and about New Year's Eve, which I never saw. So I think movies were I guess there was some movies that were trying to be like this movie that's never succeeded. And I think the director Richard Curtis, who I believe also wrote For Weddings and Funeral, understands romantic comedies and how to bring them all together in all these characters and bring them all. And it's this chaotic feeling, but somehow it all works. So, Love Actually, I do. The ultimate romantic movie, yes, it is. Okay, when I leave 2003, I leave it with my favorite film of 2003, the best film I saw in 2003, and probably the best film that I saw in the first 17 years from 2000 to 2017. And I can't believe it's on Blu-ray now. I was so shocked. I think I got this 2 weeks ago, and I did watch it again. And it is Ryder. This is a nice collector set from Shout Factory, also Scream Factory. And now it has all the special features from the DVD. And I think the DVD did come out. And this one comes with the Blu-ray and a digital download. I could go. I do want to do a separate. Someday I'll do a separate review for Whale Rider. I can talk about Whale Rider forever. It's just a movie that has moved me time and time again, and it holds up so well. And I watched it again, and I watched a lot of the special features that were tie-ins to when it got released on DVD over 10 years ago. This is the 15th anniversary, I think, for 2002, but I saw it in 2003. So for me, it was a 2003 film, and just. It's an emotional film, and there's so much going for this movie, and it's so beautiful, and I love Whale Rider so much. And this is a nice slipcover that I kept the plastic on. Of course, here is the DVD Blu-ray from Shout Factory. I like what they do. They really do a good job, and there is the cool looking. I love that there's a cool looking DVD right there of the film. I really do appreciate that, especially as a fan of this wonderful, beautiful film. I don't know if a lot of people know about this movie, and I hope that if you're watching up to this point, if you're still here, I do say it's selling everywhere now. I saw it at Target. I got this online at, I think, Target, but now it's at Target. It's at Best Buy. I think I saw it at Walmart. It's everywhere now. So I'm glad it took a while, but I'm glad it's finally on Blu-ray. This is the film that I really wanted for a long time, and I was very shocked that it does exist. So happy to have it in my collection. Thank you so much, Shout Factory. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so I'm done with 2003, on to 2004, and the video is now 15 minutes. So we're going to go through these really, really quick, and the rest of the video hopefully will be not so long. But I have so much to talk about. Oh, I love films so much, way too much. All right, so I've got House of Flying Daggers, one of my favorite foreign language movies of all time, from China. This is just a beautiful, gorgeous film. Of course, it came out around the same time Hero came out. And it's from one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, so I'm glad to add this to my collection. Lovely film, and I'd like to add more from that director as well. Now, I never saw the next film in the theaters. I actually finally saw it on DVD a year after it came out in 2004, and that would be King Arthur. This is the director's cut. This is the only version I've ever seen, and I actually really loved this film. And I'm kind of glad I didn't see the PG-13 version. I'm glad I saw the unrated version. I don't know what the differences are. I imagine it's a little more violent. But I remember really enjoying this film, digging the hell out of it, and thought it was, if it was a knockoff of all those films coming out during that time, it was a great knockoff of all those action movies coming out around that time. And I just really enjoyed it. And I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't know if it holds up, but it was definitely worth checking out again. And the Blu-ray wasn't very much when I bought it. I think it was like $4 or $5. All right, next one is one of the best films of 2004. I think this was 2004. Yes, it was nominated for Best Picture, Finding Neverland. Just a wonderful adaptation of the story of the creation of Peter Pan. I just really enjoyed this film. I know it got turned into a play, which I've never seen, so I can't comment on that. But the movie itself is near perfect. And Johnny Depp's performance, which of course was nominated for an Academy Award, was great. And I think it was the first time we saw Freddie Highmore, who's gone on to have a really amazing career himself, especially on television. So, yeah, I love Finding Neverland. I think it's a wonderful film. And the best film that went to the Academy, from the Academy, was $1 Million Baby. My pick for best film of 2004 was Sideways, but this is a really great film, if not extremely depressing, but a wonderful film from director Clint Eastwood. And, of course, winning performances by Hilary Swank and Morgan Freeman. Everybody gets an, you get an Oscar, you get an Oscar, you get an Oscar when it came to this one. Of course, they won 4. But I've seen this film, and I think what I really love about this movie the most is the score. And who wrote the score? Probably Clint Eastwood probably wrote the score, because he does write the score for his movies sometimes. I just really love the music to this film, most of all. So there it is, Best Picture winner, $1 Million Baby. And now on to 2005. I think I got a few comedies. Well, a couple comedies. Yeah, just a couple. First one, not really a lot of comedies, just a couple. Wedding Singer. Let's go over the comedies really quick. Let's get those out of the way. Wedding Singer and The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Some of the best comedies of 2005. You know, this is probably Judd Apatow at his best, along with Knocked Up. I think he's kind of missed the mark since then. And a great introduction, of course, to the world for Steve Carell. I know was it after that he had been in Evan Almighty? I can't really remember. But a really great film, very funny film starring Steve Carell. And this is probably the best. They've never really, that internship I hated. I didn't like that movie. This was a great representation of these two guys, Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn, working together, and I don't think they'll ever be this good. And I just remember really laughing. It was a great year for comedy, especially with these two wonderful comedies. Okay, let's go to films I already own, but now own again on Blu-ray once again, and that would be the Ultimate Edition of King Kong 2005, brain fart. This one has some more special features that I think are not attached to the original. Maybe it's all, or maybe they just put some nice packaging on it, and it's really cool. I just like, this is not 3D or anything, but it is a very cool, I don't know what they call it, kind of packaging, but I like it. It does have the theatrical and extended cut, which I already own, but I do just like the packaging, so I got it, and I think I got it for $5 or $10. And I think it's going pretty cheap still, and of course, it comes with the DVD, and the DVD special features, and the, Blu-rays, Blu-rays chatty, and the DVD right there. I don't know what else you can say about King Kong. It's a 3.5-hour film, and there's a lot to say about it. and I have fond memories of watching it with my friends, and I have fond memories of watching it at home, and I'd love to see it. My favorite aspect of the film is the relationship between the King Kong and Naomi Watts. I just thought it was a beautiful friendship that happens between them. So we can thank the talents of Peter Jackson and the great, gosh, I have a brain fart. What is his name? Andy Serkis. I'm sorry, Andy Serkis. I'm sorry to the fans of Andy Serkis. Just brilliance from both of them. Okay, one of my favorite films of 2005 is The New World. Really did love this film. Another one of my favorite films of 2005 is Brokeback Mountain. So these are some of the best films of 2005, in my opinion. Of course, this one went on to be nominated for Best Picture and then, of course, lost to Crash. Some people are still upset about that. I'm okay with it because I thought Crash was a great film. The New World, of course, was nominated for something like cinematography or something like that. And this is the extended cut, which is almost 3 hours. And I have to say I might prefer the original cut over this extended cut. Still, both great films, or both great versions of the film. I think I prefer the theatrical one, which is, I think, a half an hour shorter. And then Brokeback Mountain, great film. And when I watch this, I miss Heath Ledger. Just one of the finest performances ever. And, of course, he was nominated. And I love Ang Lee, great filmmaker. Of course, this is Terrence Malick, who divides critics and fans. And I love Terrence Malick, though I think this and The Tree of Life and The Thin Red Line are his best films. Of course, some of his early work back in the 70s. And one of Ang Lee's best film, Brokeback Mountain. All right, now we talk about a film that I don't think a lot of people still talk about at all, and that would be Hustle and Flow. I didn't see this until it was on DVD, and I remember really enjoying it. Great soundtrack, great performance by Terrence, what's your name? Terrence Howard, of course, Terrence Howard. And I think he was nominated, and it won for Best Song for a song that I'm not going to repeat right now. So there you go. There's Hustle and Flow, definitely a film worth seeing if you have not seen Hustle and Flow yet. And we have another Oscar winner. I think this movie was nominated too, but first we're going to talk about one of my favorite documentaries of all time, March of the Penguins. This is a great film, G-rated for the whole entire family, and you learn a lot about penguins. I think I've learned... before this, I didn't know much about penguins, and after this, I felt like I learned so much about them. And of course, after this, there was big, huge craze. Penguins, we got the Happy Feet movies, and then there was probably some other knockoffs. And I think Surf's Up came out after that, which I think was really great too, which really has a lot to thank for this success of this documentary. I think it's one of the most successful documentaries ever made, and has such a wide appeal since it does appeal to all ages. And then finally, from 2005, I have Pride and Prejudice, another adaptation. Of course, this was the introduction of Joe Wright as a filmmaker, and he's a great filmmaker. Not all of his films are great, but for the most part, I really love this film. Great soundtrack, and I've seen a few versions of Pride and Prejudice, but this is definitely one of the best, and probably one of the easiest ones, more accessible to people that maybe don't want to see it. Though a lot of people who can't swallow this kind of film would probably prefer to watch Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, which I actually really enjoyed too. But Joe Wright, of course, went on to do Hannah and Anna Karenina, and of course he's got a new movie coming out that I really look forward to seeing about Winston Churchill. But I really enjoy Pride and Prejudice. I think it's a fabulous film, and I believe it was nominated for cinematography, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Definitely one of the best films of 2005. All right, now we're into 2006. So I got a bunch right here. See? A bunch. Okay, here they are. Really quickly, I'm just going to go over them really quick. We Are Marshal. Probably the only McG film that I can actually swallow. I think this movie's heartfelt and very memorable, and I have a feeling that somebody else made it, not McG. I really have that. I really have a sick feeling that he did not direct this film, that actually somebody else did. And I appreciate that sick feeling, because this is a really great film coming from a terrible director. All right, The Illusionist. Love The Illusionist. Wonderful soundtrack. The movie feels like it's it's definitely set in a different time, but it definitely feels like from a different time. And I contribute the wonderful filmmaker Neil Burger. And I would, oh gosh, I would love to see more movies like this in the theater. Just so beautiful and interesting and fascinating and wonderful to enjoy. One of the best films of 2006, and it was nominated for Best Picture, and that would be The Companion. There were two films from Clint Eastwood that year, and one of them was Letters from Iwo Jima, and this was, of course, the Japanese side of the war, and then, of course, there was Flags of Their Father, which I do want to own someday. I can't find it yet, but I do want to own it, and I do think these films are great to watch side by side. You get the United States perspective and then the Japanese perspective of the side of that war. So definitely one of the best films, and of course was nominated for Best Picture that year. Now I go from talking about the Japanese really quick to talking about the Koreans really quick, and this is one of the best films from South Korea. A great director. Of course, I believe he went on to make Snowpiercer, and then he's got another film that I still want to see. That is on Netflix right now that I have not watched yet. But I love The Host. I think The Host is a fabulous monster movie. If you like a good monster movie and you have not seen The Host yet, highly recommend this wonderful, funny, scary, thrilling film from South Korea. One of the best filmmakers from that country as well. All right, then we've got Stranger Than Fiction. I really miss the days when Will Ferrell wasn't trying so hard to be funny, when he actually trying to be more dramatic, and then the funny would actually come out. And I would like to see more of that from Will Ferrell. I would like to see him more of him make films, I'd like to see him make more of these kind of films. I really would. I think this is a smart, intelligent look at life, and shows that Will Ferrell can also be very good at being dramatic. And we need more of that instead of what we're getting right now of him every year. So definitely one of the best films with Will Ferrell in it. And a great cast as well. There's so many great things about this film. And I like this Ryder too. Zach Helm. You know, I know he made another film after this, but I don't know what he's doing now. Is he writing plays? Let me know. What is Zach Helm doing now? All right, one of the most underrated horror films that I had a great chance to see in the theater in 2006 or 7 when it actually did get released, and that would be Behind the Mask. I recently just got this on Blu-ray. This is just a very unique horror film, and I think horror fans probably have seen this film because it does pay homage to all the great horror greats and actually incorporates them. And I like how it uses, you know, a mockumentary mixed with you know, a real movie. So it's like a real movie here mixed with a mockumentary, and it kind of goes back and forth, and it's just done so much in an intelligent way. It's just so fascinating, and I'd like to see more from this director. Scott Glosserman, where is this guy? What is he doing? I mean, he's just so talented, and he just made a great film over 10 years ago. Where is he at now? I mean, I know it's hard to make movies, but this movie just is one of the best horror films, incorporating not just horror, but comedy and dramatic moments. It's what horror movies are lacking today. A prime example of, you know, what horror movies should be like. And if they were more like this film, they would be more enjoyable and watchable, in my opinion. Definitely one of the most underrated films I've ever seen. One of the most overrated films I've ever seen that I do like, that would be Blood Diamond. I like this film. I would watch it again. I got it for a decent price. Don't have much to say. I remember seeing it once, and I would watch it again and see if I still like it. I know that Leonardo DiCaprio was nominated for a film, though I think he deserved it more for his performance in The Departed, but there you go. So Blood Diamond, don't also say much about this film, but I definitely would like to watch it again. Really quick, we got some films from 2006 that I think are great and definitely worth recommending, and that would be Rescue Dawn. This is a film by Werner Herzog. If you have not seen it yet, it's definitely one of his best, and of course it's based on a true story, and it stars Christian Bale and Steve Zahn, and it's a very powerful film that I have not seen in a while, and I look forward to watching again very, very soon. I think it's definitely one of the best from Werner Herzog, especially made in the last few years of his career. And of course, he's still making movies today. Awesome. This film, Dreamgirls, I really enjoyed Dreamgirls, but I had not seen it in a while. So I got this probably for $5 to $6. And I know there's a new edition that's like extended, but who really cares? But of course, this introduced me to Jennifer Hudson. as a performer, and definitely, of course, she went on to win the award that year for Best Supporting Actress, and it is an amazing performance. And of course, I think the other stellar performance in this film is Eddie Murphy, who was also nominated. Beyonce Knowles, had nothing much to say about her. Standard performance from her. Of course, she can sing, but I don't know how much she can act. But overall, this is a great film directed by Bill Condon, who just recently directed Beauty and the Beast. And finally, one of the best films of 2006, that would be World Trade Center. This is one of the best films about 9/11, and one of the greatest films made by Oliver Stone. And it's PG-13. PG-13. I was very shocked. I think this was the first time. I think this was the first time that Oliver Stone ever directed a movie be rated PG-13, and a movie that was just a straight story. This is a straight story of survival. Straight story about what happened that day, especially to two families. And it was really shocking because Oliver Stone's known for making films that are controversial and deal with conspiracy theories, but this one is just a straight story. And it's a tough movie to watch. It's not an easy movie to watch, but it's definitely something I needed to have in my collection because I thought it was just a brilliant film when I saw it over 10 years ago. One of the best films from Oliver Stone. And this has got, I do want to showcase really quick, this has got a cool 2 Blu-rays, special features, and the DVD, and they're really cool artwork on those. So I want to show you those really quick. And finally, let's go through 2007 really quick. I got a comedy, all kinds. I got a comedy, a thriller, a musical, and a drama. So first off, let's go with the drama. We got Atonement, which was directed in 2007, also by Joe Wright. And this was nominated for Best Picture, and I think it only won Best Score. Very unique score using typewriters. And there's a beautiful shot. I remember there being a beautiful shot, long take of this film. But I remember, I think what happened was, I saw There Will Be Blood right before this film. It's a double feature almost. And I was still thinking about There Will Be Blood all through watching this film. And I don't think I really appreciated Atonement when I saw it. So I'm glad to have it. I think I got this for like $5. So I'm glad to have it. I want to revisit it again, see if I love it. Right now, I just like this film, but maybe watching it again, I might love it. And of course, Saoirse Ronan, I think, introduced us to the world, and she was nominated for an Academy Award. And of course, she's gone on to have a great career and work with Joe Wright again with Hannah. Let's talk about one of the best thrillers of 2007, and when that would be The Lookout. Lookout, this is just the price, which I didn't pay. I actually got this for $5. Lookout. I wish I saw this in the theater. This was just one of the best films of those first 10 years. Best film, one of the best films of 2007. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jeff Daniels, Matthew Good, Isa Fisher. Just a brilliant film. I welcome more movies like this. I want to see more films like that. And of course, not to say Jeff Bridges, say Jeff Daniels worked with Joseph Gordon-Levitt a few years later, of course, in Looper, directed by Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson is doing the new Star Wars movie. Very excited to see that. I'm sorry for that little plug. But anyways, great, wonderful film. I have not seen this movie in a while, but I remember really enjoying it. It's just one of the best thrillers ever made. And I'm just excited. I was so excited to find this. And I actually got it at a good price. And I look forward to watching it again soon. I have not seen this in probably 10 years. All right, so we're going to talk about... let's talk about this one first. This one is Across the Universe, 2007, a great tribute, tip of the hat to the Beatles. And I thought this movie was one of the most visually stunning films of the year, and one of the most empty and emotionally empty films of the year as well. It was beautiful to watch. It was gorgeous throughout. It was long. I think it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that, or I don't know. It was a long movie. This was a long movie. It was like a really long music video with a very thin story and a beautiful soundtrack from the Beatles and visuals to die for. So I remember I was so excited to see this movie, and then I walked out here going, it was good, it was beautiful, Lookout, but I never really felt emotionally connected at all to the story and the characters. But I still liked it, and I think it's still a great tribute to the Beatles. It's a good film, but a great tribute to their music, and one of the most visually beautiful films I think ever made. I just wish there was a heart to it. I really do. I don't really feel like there was a heart to this film. And finally, we're going to end. This video is so long, and I apologize a little bit for that, but I just wanted to talk about films for a while, and it was really great. I'd like to try and do this at least once a week. We're going to end off with a film that I think is good. but a lot of people probably think is one of the greatest comedies ever made. I think it's a good comedy, and that would be, I finally got it, $5 at Target right now. It's still there, $5 at Target on Blu-ray. Superbad. Jonah Hill, Michael Cera, Evan Goldberg, and Seth Rogen come together and bring this comedy to life. You know, McLovin. I do like this film. I don't love this film. I do enjoy this film, and I understand the mass appeal for it. I understand why it is, for some people, it's one of the greatest comedies ever made. It's cult status. I get it. I understand it is now 10 years old, since it is 2017 now. But I just remember seeing that was funny, a little over the top. It was raunchy. It was silly. It was stupid. But I know it worked, and I did laugh occasionally. But I didn't just ultimately love this film. But I'm glad to have it in my collection, to add it to the other comedies, and maybe I just need to watch it again. This has the unrated extended edition. I don't know if it has the original film that I saw, but it has the unrated extended edition, which I imagine isn't 5 hours longer. I bet it's 5 hours longer than the original, so it's probably 5 hours better than the original film. All right, so there you go. Superbad. I don't know if there's a cool. Let's end it off with, this is cool. At least Columbia gets it right every once in a while, and they give us a cool looking Blu-ray. Probably because they really want to honor this film. All right, there you go. That is my Blu-ray update for today. Thank you so much for, if you're still around, I really do appreciate it. Let me know in the comment box below what you think of the 100,000 movies that I just showcased for you right now. Have a great rest of your month of November. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I love you all. I'm grateful for you all. Chatty Man, Tired Man is going to go away now, and I'll come back hopefully next week with either a movie review or more Blu-ray updates. Hopefully there'll be a movie that actually comes out soon that I'm very excited to see. All right, everyone. Goodbye. Love you. Miss you. Talk to you later. Bye. Good night. Good day. Good morning. Good afternoon. Live film, everyone. Bye-bye.